Online psychology for child safety. Everywhere you look, people are buried deep in their phones. Whether it's work from home, from office, or anywhere on the street, everyone's hooked to their smartphones. COVID-19 has forced this life-saving but addictive gadget onto the Indian education system with online classes. Jennifer Mary Johnson, educator and counseling psychologist, explains. Children were exposed to the world of social media, which comes with its pros and cons, including drastic impact on their mental health.
The most important one is to model good behavior. If you want your child to not use so much of social media accounts, or you don't want them to keep using their phone during the day, kind of reflect on as parents if we are doing that. Are we using our phones too much in front of them, or are we constantly on our phones while they're coming to talk to us? I think those actually reflect on our on what we are doing, and children actually learn from that, because children observe and learn.
The brain releases dopamine, which is equal to feeling high. For children, this gives them a temporary high, but when it comes down, it is dangerous.
When you ask an adolescent to actually stop using their phone, or when you take away their phone, they can get very angry because they're actually withdrawing, or they're actually responding negatively to that because they're so addicted to the device that they're actually using. So it's very difficult for them to stop. Again, they need to consciously be aware of the pros and cons of using it. And I would say that as parents, we need to actually teach them about the pros and cons. We need to explain it to them rather than just enforcing laws on them, but explaining it to them, helping them to make their own decision, but also monitoring their social media activity, but in a more transparent way, where you're telling the child that their social media is going to be monitored, or talking to them about the dangers of it is extremely important.
The good, the bad, and the ugly of gadget use can affect a child's development and holistic health. The good: easy access to teachers, education, and material from across the globe. The bad: addiction, inferiority complex, comparison, low self-esteem, cyberbullying, and it can get uglier.
There is a lot of cyberbullying that happens when children get into using social media platforms. There's a lot of fraud calls, or just things that they need to be careful about. There are a lot of sites that are not safe for children. There is a lot of pornographic content that they might receive, or they would have access and free access to, and no adult to monitor that. A lot of games which actually have a lot of violence and content in it, which triggers in individuals, especially adolescents. Their brains are just developing, and when they're exposed to so much violence, it kind of shows in their behavior and their personality development as well. So you actually see that there is a lot of dangers of using uncontrolled social media, especially for children and adolescents.
Regulation and monitoring. Jennifer highlights the importance of monitoring children's content. What they watch and when they watch is very critical. It is important for parents to be involved and to show the child that they care. Instead of using strict, careless ways, be more affectionate and understanding. For starters, parents must be more involved with their children's screen time. This includes basic knowledge of what the child is watching and doing online. Setting boundaries.
It does not have to be done in an aggressive manner, but more like an assertive manner, where you set certain boundaries. You tell the child that these are the zones, or these are the places where they can use their phone, and these are the places where they're not allowed to use their phone. So, for example, you can't use or pick up calls at the dining table, or in bedrooms, you're not allowed to keep your phone. But they could use phones in common spaces or their study room. So, setting zones where they can actually use or access their devices and social media accounts is very, very essential.
Jennifer says adolescents and teenagers may have to be treated differently than younger children. They must be spoken to softly and explained why, instead of being scolded or beaten into submission. Jennifer suggests an assertive approach instead of an aggressive one. Parents can try guiding their children to a choice instead of enforcing it on them. This allows the child to be more open, as they feel included and heard instead of being shut out and ignored. How parents treat the child can determine the path the child decides to take.
I wouldn't suggest sneaking in on an adolescent's phone and checking what they're doing, because that can actually break trust, and that's not what we're looking at, right? With parents and children, we're trying our level best to keep communications open. So what I would suggest is letting the child know that their device is being monitored, or letting them know that.
What to do? Limit screen time. Have strict timings for adolescents who will react positively when given options and a freedom to choose. Teach them the importance of privacy. Teach them the importance of sharing information on the internet. Teach them to unplug. Spend time without their phone or computer. To go out and play or exercise.
Do different things, so do activities that do not involve a device or network or anything. Just probably going out, encouraging them to do different activities is extremely important. Their phone, this can really damage their cognitive development. Now this is based on multiple studies as well, because when children are not sleeping very well, so for 6 to 7 hours at night they're on their phone, they're on calls, the radiation again is really bad. They also are using so much of content, they're probably talking or they're playing games. It's like an addiction that they have formed, which is again negatively impacting their health. So teaching children that they can't, or keeping regulations of not using phones at night is extremely important, because if they are able to sleep well and eat well, then it also takes care of their physical health.
For more community updates, please follow and subscribe to the North Bangalore Post.